Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast show. And today's episode, I'm here again with the most incredible Jane Petite. Jane, lovely to have you here with me.
Hey Katie, how you doing?
Good, good, good. So today's episode, this is going to be one of Jane's favorites, I think. This episode is for you if you have ever found yourself saying things like, oh, I don't know, I'm working harder than ever, but we're still not growing. 1 month we're smashing it, the next we're scrambling. I have no idea what is actually working in my business anymore. Now, if any of those sound familiar or resonate, please know you are not broken and neither is your business. You are missing one vital thing. And that is what we call real-time clarity. And here's the shocking part. Most recruitment business owners don't actually track the very few numbers that would show them the truth. And as a result of that, they end up working very much in the dark and guessing instead of having clarity and being able to steer their ship in exactly the direction they want to go to. So today we want to show you how you can fix that. And here's the good news. You can fix that in just 5 minutes a day. That's all it takes. And you only need 5 simple golden metrics. You don't even need fancy spreadsheets, no maths degree required. We're going to talk you through the simplest way in which you can get total clarity and predictability on your business. So if that sounds good, stick around, guys, for the next 20 minutes. So Jane, let's talk about why, first of all, let's talk about why this is important, really, and what we see in recruiting business owners when they're at this point, when they haven't got this predictability.
This is the point, and this is where often we find our clients, whether they be smaller businesses or larger businesses. It's a trend that we see monopolizing the recruitment industry, is they don't know what's working and they don't know what's failing, and they know how much money they're making or losing,
Mm.
but they don't know the key components that have led to that. So, for example, it's I'm trying to see if this analogy will work. It's like sitting down with a piece of chocolate cake, or you've got two slices of chocolate cake, and you eat one slice and you go, that's bloody delicious. I wonder how they made that. And then you eat the other slice of chocolate cake and go, God, that's bloody disgusting. I want, I wonder how they made that. And what's the difference between the two? Why is that one good and why is that one bad? I don't know the ingredients. I don't know how much flour they put in it, how much sugar they put in it, but one of them's got it right and one of them's got it wrong. And that's your recruitment business, is that chocolate cake. If you don't, if you're only tracking your P&Ls, and in some cases, possibly not even that, you've just got a guesstimate. Have we made money this year? I think so. I think we're in profit. Cool. If you don't know at any given point if you're in a profit or a deficit and you've got a plan of action behind that, you don't know which piece of chocolate cake you're going to bite into. The one that was made beautifully with the right ingredients, which can be repeated time and time again, or if you're going to eat the one that somebody poured a load of flour in instead of sugar.
Mm,
So
mm.
this
Love your
is
chocolate cake analogy. It's made me think about chocolate now. I wish I hadn't said that. Um, I'm going to have chocolate cake in my mind. I might have to go and get some later. Um, this is so true. We speak to recruitment business owners every week, don't we? Who, I'm just thinking about one of the things that, we talked about earlier or even on other podcasts where, recruiting business owners, they're burnt out. They feel like they've tried everything, like marketing funnels, new tech, more BD, blah, blah, blah. But actually, they're still left I'm guessing about, well, I've got no idea what parts of my business are actually working really, really well. And so what that means is that they work super hard again, 2 or 3 times harder on every aspects of their business, but also they're constantly moving from, one leaky bucket to another
yeah.
because they've got no idea where the problem is. It's like having, I don't know, it's like having, isn't it, a leaky bucket, but you don't actually know where the hole is, and
Yep.
it's like, oh my God, I'm just looking all over the place for it. And there are so many parts, aren't there, to a recruitment business. When you think about recruitment, although we can all say, oh, it's a simple process, there are so many stages. It's like a jigsaw. There's so many parts of that where things can go wrong because it is this this systemized pipeline, which is pretty complex, really, when you break it down. There's like multitudinal parts to it. You don't know where it's going wrong. The only way that you can know where it's going wrong is to actually understand the metrics, if you like, or the system itself, and breaking it into those parts to say, if I've got a pipe, let's say, and I've got water flowing from one to the other, if I want to find out where it's going wrong, I've got to chunk it into bits to actually check it out, haven't I? I've got to find out where
Yeah.
it is. So this is about, rather than being in that exhausted place, never knowing where the next placement's coming from, feeling super busy, working super hard, but not getting any results from it. This isn't about more hustle, dare I use that word? It isn't about more hustle. It's actually about saying, okay, where's the problem? And then once you know where that problem is and you can find that problem, then it's so easy to fix it.
Yeah, it is.
But
And yeah, so it's following with your analogy. If you've got the pipe with a hole in it, what seems to be the default, and certainly would have been my default at a point in my career, is rather than try and work out what's wrong with it, is to just go and stand at the top of the pipe and start to try and generate more water to throw down it, which
yeah,
just exasperates the hole, but it makes you feel busy because you're working on top of funnel rather than
oh my God,
fixing.
I've done that so many times. Like chuck more, chuck more, chuck more. We just need more. How many times have we all said that? Oh, we just need more leads, or we just need more
Just need
clients.
more jobs. Just need more
Just
jobs.
need more
Yeah.
jobs. And that might not actually be the place. And I say that with total certainty because a number of our clients is actually about the conversion. It's not about getting more in. It's actually about what we're doing with those ones that we've got. So, and I just want to talk about one thing here before we sort of get into what those things are, what the answers are. Um, because a lot of people, and we see this, don't we, Jane? And I was this person too, so I can say this, is I'm not a numbers lady. I'm not a spreadsheet whiz. Um, Excel, I'm okay on. I can do some basic formulas and things like that. But, a sight of a spreadsheet often will, create like rash and sweaty palms in me. So if you're listening and before you panic, I want to reassure you, this isn't about, you don't have to be a numbers person. You don't have to get excited about formulas or pivot tables or Excel. You don't have to get excited about any of those things, and you don't have to be great at maths. What I would invite you to get excited about is clarity, because we're talking about predictable cash flow when we're talking about this solution and these answers. So this is about giving you confidence. This is about a handful of numbers that are super simple, super easy. You could teach this to recruiters. You could actually teach it to your kids, right? It is nice and simple. And it is just about some core metrics that will literally feel like you flipped a light switch on, and you're in a dark room, because once you see it and understand
I
it,
unsee it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's amazing, isn't it? This is how I remember Aspire. um, our consultants used to love our system on our dashboard. And I used to have consultants say to me every week, Katy, can you send me, can you send me my matrix? Can you send me my numbers? Because they knew that those numbers would tell them everything that they needed to know about how they were going to hit the target that they wanted to hit that quarter. Yeah.
I was really fortunate in my recruitment career because I remember on day 2 of my induction, I was taught how to work out my ratios. So by ratios, I mean, how many jobs do I need to take on to fill? How many first interviews do I need to take on to make a placement? And I was taught that on day 2. And I genuinely believed that was taught to everybody in the recruitment industry. And I'm eternally, and I had a tutor for maths GCSE. I scraped through, but I do have a calculator that can divide numbers, which has served me well in my life. But I'm eternally grateful because I've always managed my desk through numbers. Because if you've got a consultant going, oh, I've had a great quarter, I've done 130 interviews, so I've done 10 a week. Isn't that brilliant? And you'd be like, God, that's amazing. Well done. That 130 interviews in one quarter. If they made 2 placements, forgive my French, you've got a shit consultant. It's because they're doing an average of 65 first interviews to make one placement. Like volume, yeah, Katie, we used to, one of our old board members used to describe recruitment as the sausage factory. If you throw enough in at the top end, a sausage will fall out of the bottom, but think about your wastage.
Mm,
So, yeah, really, really fortunate. Eternally grateful to my first recruitment company for teaching me how to understand metrics. And no matter how you feel about numbers and KPIs, etc., this is the petrol that you put in your car. Or, for example, I drive an electric car. If I try and put petrol in my car, we ain't going anywhere. So, this is what you've got to get a handle on if you want to have a scalable business where you can sleep at night.
yeah, yeah. And what we're talking about here are we're talking about, like, as we said, like a few numbers that you need to track, nothing more. And these really are just your vital signs, if you like. So they are the key things that will tell you whether you're on track or not on track, but also you can use them to reverse engineer any revenue goal that you want to hit. So if you know that this year you want to hit a particular number, or this quarter you want to hit a particular number, if you know your key metrics, you can reverse engineer that to give you the exact GPS that you need to get to that figure. So no more hoping, no more revenue roller coaster. You will know exactly how many jobs you need to take, how many calls you need to make, how many first stage interviews you need to make, maybe how many CV submissions you need. You will have your own sort of what I call the main five, and it certainly wouldn't be any more than 10 key metrics that you would need to know if you were on a desert island and you wanted to know each day if you were going to be on a desert island. So let's say I don't know, you want to go on a lovely holiday and you're going to sit there for a month, but you want to know what's happening in your business. You want to make sure that that business is on track. If somebody was going to send you a letter every week with your core metrics so that you knew exactly where your business was at, these are the metrics that you want to see. So that's what we're talking about here. And it's your flight path. And I love using the analogy of a rocket because our program's called Rocket. So if I kind of give you some imagery to bring it to life, and I don't know how many people know this, but a rocket on its way to the moon. So let's say the moon is your revenue goal and your rocket is on your way to the moon. Rockets are actually off course for over 94% of the time. So if you think about that, that means that the majority of its journey, a rocket is not pointing at the moon. It is actually off course. And yet it always lands there perfectly. Well, not always, Katie, but generally. And so how does that happen? It happens because what they do is they call it like continuous course correction. So imagine mission control, and that's the station that monitors the data constantly. So it's always sending instructions to the rocket, like, oh, you need to adjust by 0.3 degrees left, or or right. And it's constantly telling it what it needs to do. And this is what your metrics are. They are exactly the same. It's about ensuring that you are on the right course to where you want to get to. And that's really all they're there for. It's not about bashing anyone over the head with. It's not about, using them as I've heard them used about whether it's a carrot or what's the other word? The carrot or the
Arrow stick.
stick. Thank you. Yeah, it's not about that. That's not what you have metrics for. The reason that you have these metrics is so that you can plan and predictably achieve what it is that you want to achieve. That's the only reason that I would have them in my business. And by the way, you have them in any business, whether you're a recruitment business, training business,
Hairdresser, anything.
whatever you are. Exactly. And so we're talking about those golden metrics. That's your mission control. So that if you drift off course, you can always come back. That's what we're talking about here. You know, and metrics aren't there to judge you. They're not there to criticize you. They're literally just there to tell you what needs adjusting.
They have no emotion. They're numbers. They're if you choose to be angered by them, then you're welcoming that. If you choose to be delighted by them, but they're just doing what they do. And they're just showing you critical insights into your business. My parents are a really good analogy to use at this time, because my parents are, let's say, slow adapters to Google Maps, preferring to use their sense of direction, which is great. So they recently went to collect my daughter from Newcastle. As they left, she's at uni there. As they left my house, I went, guys, put the sat nav on. Like, Newcastle's a bit of a bugger to get into. And my dad looked at me, rolled his eyes, and was like, I know how to drive to Newcastle, Jane. And off they went, going up the A1, a miserable motorway in the UK. And off they went. 4 hours later, I got a message saying how they'd hit every roadwork in town, how they'd gone on the Tyne Tunnel and been given a fine. Interestingly enough, for it, we found out later on. Anyway, the whole point was it took them a laborious amount of time because they refused to use the technology that told them the fastest route, which is Google Maps. Whenever I drive to, as most of you, I imagine, whenever I drive to a destination, I put on Google Maps and I program it to take me the fastest route. And sometimes it surprises me because it knows stuff from satellites, etc., that tell me there's going to be an accident, so therefore I'm going to go a different way. And my journey to Newcastle takes me 2.5 hours, Dad. Anyway, but this is again between the difference between a recruitment business owner that plots the plan and knows the best route, between somebody else that goes, this feels good. It feels like we're really busy because we've got lots of jobs on. It feels like we're going to make money. I think that something's going to land soon. It'll have to. Between the other recruitment owner that says, do you know what? It typically takes us 3 vacancies to place one. Last week, we took on 9 vacancies. So therefore, I can reliably forecast, if we do nothing different, that we will make in 4 weeks' time, because that's our average lead time, we will make 30 grand because our average fee is 10 grand a pop. And yeah, so it's, do you want to follow the sat nav or do you want to drive like my dad?
Poor old Jane's dad. But it is true. You know, when you've got those numbers in front of you, you're absolutely right. Everything changes. And, you know, the other things that you'll see happening, I mean, aside from second guessing, as you say, on where you're going, but also you'll see if there's any leaky revenue anywhere, you'll see it and you'll see it before it's too late. So you can act on it and stop it. And this is where people get these, you know, inconsistent, what they call the yo-yo months. So you can stop that. And the other thing is your performance conversations with your team become different. They're not about emotional, where, you know, I used to have those conversations with people and I can remember a bit of tension or friction because I'd be saying, oh, well, I don't think you're doing this or I don't think you're doing that. But if you haven't got the numbers, you've got no proof. So you want your conversations to be objective, not, you know, emotional. And that's what it does. So flat out, it will support you and instantly give you access to what it is that you need. So that is what we're talking about, the power of tracking. So let's talk about where people can start with this, Jane. Like what, because you don't need fancy tech, do you? You literally.
Like anything, it can help, but actually, I would always argue if you know how to do this manually,
Yeah.
rather than, and we have a fancy spreadsheet, as we know, and it's my lifesaver in most of my coaching calls. But you do need to know how to work this out manually, to be able to get an idea. So what we always do is we look to the past first of all, and I would say 13 weeks and 6 months data. If you can't get 6 months, get 13 weeks. If that feels like a headache, I'm just going to say, suck it up, sister. It's going to be a headache. As somebody who, Katie always smiles when she talks about me and data because I'm a bit data obsessive, but I have a vested interest in a business which we ran for a year without tracking any data. And when I eventually woke up and went, going to need to sort that out, it took me a weekend of caffeine and wine where I had to work back through a year's worth of numbers, and I hated myself internally for 2 days. It's just got to be done, I'm afraid. And if you've got somebody in the business, I didn't. If you've got somebody in the business that's really good with numbers, then cool, get them on it. But if not, bed yourself in. You need to go and see what your business has done. We have to have a start from somewhere. And Katie, you know, we sit on coaching calls with people and we go on, open up your diary, physically count how many people you interviewed, go through your Outlook, physically count how many interview confirmations you sent. We've got to start from somewhere. So
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, you have got to start from somewhere, but there's most of these CRMs track this. If you've got a CRM, guys, you have access to these figures. And like you say, it's just, even if you start with the 5 key metrics, not everything, just what are the core metrics that I need to know? Is it number of jobs I've taken, number of first stage interviews, number of CVs sent, maybe number of candidates registered, and placements and offers. That in itself is going to give you a world of information and a totally different picture and pulse on what is happening in your business, and just track them weekly. I mean, even if you start this week, in 4 weeks' time, you're going to have that data. In 8 weeks' time, you're going to have that data. And then in 13 weeks' time, you're going to have that data. So
okay,
you need to.
Katie's giving you the easy way out there, guys. She's giving you a forward plan, whereas I'm give up your weekend, get 2 bottles of Pinot, and work your way through your history. Your choice. You can do it Katie's way or Jane's way.
Yeah, I'd say mine's easier. So, but then when you've got that data, what you're looking for is patterns.
Yeah.
What you're looking for is that leaky bucket, because history leaves clues. It's going to show you. We use a very cool tool. We call it our magic profit lever calculator. And it literally, you can plug your numbers in and it will tell you like where you can 10 times X your revenue, and what's the first place that you need to go to accelerate it. Like, I'm not just talking double or triple it, I'm talking like 10 times it. So this is why this information, we're not asking, well, it's up to you, of course it is, you're an adult, you go do what you want. And I can't stress enough, this is one of the things that I say to people as soon as they come into our world: guys, we're going to start with this, because it's going to make the biggest difference to your business and your sanity and your levels of anxiety. So, and by the way, we have got a plug and play scorecard. So, this really is worth the investment of your time. And as I say, no need to be a data geek. You just need to track a few things. Okay, so I think we've probably given them everything they need on that. So if you want to move your business from chaos to clarity, from burnout to control, from guessing to knowing, this is what you need to do. So guys, I hope we've given you everything you need on that. Of course, if you want our system to grow your business to 7 figures and beyond, please do click on the link below. We have got the exact system framework below this podcast, so it is yours if you want access to it. And for now, Jane and I will say au revoir, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.